Only 2% of all players reach Ultimate Champion every season, and today I was able to reach the Esteem League with an amazing 95% win rate. I used 3.0 Xbow Cycle, my favorite deck in the game, and in this video, my goal is to teach you the best tips and tricks for you to have success with Xbow Cycle that I've honed and developed from my years of experience and mastery playing the deck. Alright, so we got our first match against Royale 278, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to reach Ultimate Champion League with 3.0 Xbow Cycle, playing all the way from Royal Champion and pushing my way up into our first game here. And my opponent is going to go for a Knight the back, so I'll go for the Xbow opposite lane. Pretty aggressive early, but I do like to split my archers and go Xbow. And we do see a monk come down, oh my goodness, into our very first match of the video, and we're already facing some monkey business here. So that's unfortunately going to nullify the entire Xbow, because that ability just straight up counters an Xbow, makes it shoot itself. Actually ridiculous. As my opponent also goes for the E-Wiz, so I'm going to go for the Log instead of E-Spirit, because I want to save my E-Spirit to play at the bridge. That way I can maybe force out a response and force more Elixir out. I could have just gone E-Spirit on the E-Wiz, but then I would have had to log the tower, and it would have been a worse interaction overall, so I can do exactly that now. And this is looking like a pretty interesting deck. I don't really know many decks that run Monk these days, so it's actually a bit interesting to face one right here. But I'm going to go Archers again, and I have upcycled the Monk. He goes for a Rage. I will go for the Xbow once more and see what else my opponent has. I'm expecting, okay, Knight Cannon. Actually going to go for a pretty aggressive Fireball. Skelly's for the Knight as well, and that will actually take out the Knight Cannon. So he spent 8 Elixir, and I spent about 11 or so, I want to say. So I spent quite a lot of Elixir, but I do get a mini Xbow lock. And the reason I was so aggressive there, you do not want to be that aggressive in every matchup. Let me tell you that right now. You need to pick your spots and know when to be super aggressive, when to be passive. That time I decided to go aggressive because I know I've recognized my opponent's deck. He already has a pretty aggressive counter to the Xbow in the Monk, and that's going to shut me down pretty heavily. So I want to make the most of single Elixir if I can outcycle counters like the Monk and just kind of get a lock in the best way possible. He's going to go for the Evo Knight in front in the right. I'm going to go for, or in the left rather, going to go for my Knight to tank both lanes, Fireball the 2 Musketeers as the Evo Archers get on work, and that's actually going to be a really good defense. Perfect defense, actually. Pretty much no damage taken there, if I'm not mistaken. Going to also go for the Spirit in front of that Evo Archer, forcing out an E-Wiz. As you guys can see, it's a 1-for-4 trade, so very underrated play is protecting your counter-pushing archers, especially your Evo archers, and you can get all sorts of offensive sequences without using the Xbow itself. So very, very nice overall. Do have a pretty comfortable damage lead in both lanes. Got a couple power shots in the right. My opponent goes for a 3 Musketeer split in a pretty weird fashion. I get a free Fireball on the right, which I will definitely take every single time. I don't know why he would do that. Plus he has to respond to his Evo Knight now, so probably going to go for the Monk or an E-Wiz. It has to be one of the two, right? It's going to be a pretty easy counter onto that Muskie. And since we do force out the Monk in the right, I can go for an Xbow in the left. My opponent's in a bit of trouble. Has to kind of stall this out. I can probably try and kite this Monk out of Xbow range with my E-Spirit. Then go for a Tesla up high. Now he's going to be able to go Monk ability if he wants, but it's basically taken out. So, I mean, it's not really going to do that much justice against the Xbow. Does go for the ability, and that's going to shut down the Xbow if it actually stayed alive. But you can see that we have a perfect map control situation now. If you guys do not know about champions, the way they work is after they die, you can cycle back to them in 3 cards, not when you play them. So he's actually not back to his Monk yet. He's back now, and now, unfortunately, Evo Knight's also a great counter to the Xbow, but because of what I did earlier, I was actually able to get a pretty nice control of that Monk and force out his Evo Knight, which, you know, I would say that's pretty worth it. Even though I don't get much of a lock, it's worth it to prevent his Evo Knight from building up a big push with his 3 Musketeers. So I feel like that was still a very worthwhile situation. You guys can see that with 3.0 Xbow Cycle as a deck, even if you don't break through with your Xbow pushes, as long as you get something out of it, it's still going to be pretty worthwhile. I'm going to go for the Log. Does go for a nicely timed ability. I'm not going to Fireball right away. I'll wait for that ability to wear off, and then Fireball every single Musketeer, and that's just a satisfying evaporation of the Musketeers. E-Spirit Fireball is going to take everything out. Going to go for the Knight to protect against that cannon, and that's going to be a great prediction. Going to go for the Log to maybe take this Knight out before he would expect it. Now he's definitely going to get something down, right? Gets the E-Wiz down low. That's still a pretty bad play. I mean, he's going to lose an entire 4 Elixir, has to go for another Knight. As you guys can see, I have not let my opponent breathe pretty much the entire match, even though he has very nice counters to my Xbow. He has Monk, he has Evo Knight. I'm still just pressuring very well, and because of that, I haven't really allowed him to build up the kind of 3 Musketeers push that he's looking for. So I feel like this is going pretty well for me overall. I'm also going for these high Teslas, trying to protect these Monks and take them out at the bridge. As you can see, we took out that Monk before he even had the ability to go for his ability, so that was just a really, really good sequence overall, just preventing him from even having that opportunity whatsoever. And now he's just struggling, you know, Evo Knight at the bridge. That is such a desperation play, and there's just nothing he can do to break through. I'm actually going to go for the Fireball Cycle on this Monk. It's a play I like making against Monk, especially later on in the match when you can't really break through normally. So you're going to go for the Fireball Cycle. Go for the log because that Monk literally got taken out again before it even had any opportunity to go for that ability. Get back to my Fireball. As you guys can see, that was a perfect game against 3 Musketeers Monk. Definitely not an easy matchup with the Evo Knight either, but with perfect control at the bridge, I was able to kind of manipulate it to go into my favor, and that's how I was able to pressure the whole game and never let him build up with the push that he is looking for. So very beautiful first win. Alright, into our second match against Ever, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. I mean, Xbow Cycle is not an easy deck to play, I will tell you all that right now. I'm sure you know it, but it's definitely going to require a lot of patience, a lot of knowledge of placements and everything. It's not going to be easy, but what it is very satisfying. You know, that match against Monk 3 Musketeers, the dude had a Monk and an Evo Knight, and I was still able to get an Xbow lock in single, and I was able to Fireball Cycle him out later on in the match. I feel like that was a pretty satisfying win, and so if you do outplay your opponents, this deck is able to still beat pretty much any matchup in the game. Genuinely, even the worst of hard counters, if you outplay your opponent hard enough, you can win, so it's pretty cool. I don't know what this guy's doing. He just went Hog the back as his first Hog Rider of the game. Really don't know what that's supposed to be. He does go for the EQ, kind of fell for the bait. So you guys know that against Earthquake decks... Okay, wow, he has an Inferno Tower. That is so annoying. Gonna go E-Spirit to reset it, though. Maybe get a bit of an Expo lock, but the Ice Spirit's gonna kind of nullify my Expo. I would still get a nice lock, actually. That's pretty satisfying. Gonna go for the Knight as well. You can see that if I let this go... Okay, that was actually a bit unfortunate, but my logic there was, if I let that go and went Knight after the fact, my Expo would have died and my Knight would have not really counterpushed much either way. So if I protect my Expo with my Knight, I'll get what's left of that tiny HP, get an even bigger Expo connection, and it's essentially the same kind of sequence, but with a bit more benefit for me. So just think of that whenever you're thinking of protecting your Expos or defending troops, what the best timing to play a troop is, whether you should let your stuff die, or if you should protect it if it's the same outcome. We're going to get a nice activation here if I let this Tesla die, and then go Skellies for that Firecracker right about now. Hopefully perfect timing. Yes, sir. Very nice. No damage taken on my tower, and a very nice King Tower activation, which is going to be very helpful for the rest of the match. And so... we do know that he has an Inferno Tower. We've gathered some intel on his deck. I think I will still go for the Expo. Okay, he does go for the Evo Valk. Never mind on that. Let's just chill and go for my own Evo Knight. This should be a pretty decent 1v1. I believe Knight might beat a Valkyrie in a 1v1. I'm not entirely sure on that. We do have an Archer helping out as well, but I'll go E-Spirit 2 just to be safe. What I was talking about earlier, by the way, guys, I got my train of thought interrupted by his Inferno Tower, but I like to actually go for pretty low Inferno, or Teslas, at the start. Also, let's go for a very nice Fireball on this Firecracker. Very important in this matchup. It does come down to spell cycle, so what you want to do is you want to align your Fireballs on their Firecrackers, get that timing perfect. Let's go for a log on this Hog as well. Knight to make sure we don't take any hits, and that's going to be a perfect defense. And E-Spirit to block. I was going to say protect and block, end up saying a very weird word, but protect against a Firecracker. You always have to watch out for that. Now I'll finally finish my train of thought, whatever happens. So essentially, they play Earthquake, and you guys know that Tesla 1 Tell Down from the river is the perfect anti-Earthquake Tesla placement. You know, it's going to be right here, and you're going to be able to defend against a Hog Rider, and if they do Earthquake, it will not hit the Tesla and the tower, as you can see right there on display. But if you go for a low Tesla, they will be tempted to Earthquake, and that's where you can actually punish them in single. I did get a bit of an Expo lock there. If I went for a better time net, it would have gotten an even bigger Expo connection. So essentially what you want to do is you want to bait them into going for an aggressive early Earthquake. That way they do not have an Earthquake available for your Expo. You can maybe get a very nice Expo connection. It's going to be pretty satisfying. So that's why I went for the low Tesla on that first Hog Rider, and it's just pretty satisfying overall. Like I said, this does go down to spell cycle at the end of the day. I mean, I'm not really going to be able to break through Earthquake cycle plus crazy tank spam, so I'm just going to go for the naked Fireball right there. Let's go for our Knight to bridge block this Valkyrie. Make sure that Hog Rider goes in front, and that way we can take it out without really having it be tanked for. He's going to EQ cycle. I'll go E-Spirit to just stall this out. He has 2 Firecrackers on the board, man, but I think I'm controlling them well enough. Yeah, I think I'm fine. I'll go for the Knight. I'll go for the high Tesla, which should snipe that Firecracker. Beautiful. Let's log to make sure it dies. E-Spirit to predict an Inferno Tower, which I do get off perfect. As you guys can see, once you've played Expo for long enough, you kind of know all the permutations, all the positions on the board, and what's going to happen. I'm going to go for the Fireball once more. I could even defensive Expo to help my case if I want, but I think for now I'll just chill and Fireball him out. You don't really need a defensive Expo, I've learned. You know, ever since they nerfed Expo, defense Expo was not like a perfect play by any means. So he does go for an EQ. Like I said, I'm going to align this Fireball with that Firecracker, take that out. Tesla last minute for this Hog, which he's about to Earthquake, so we'll go E-Spirit because I'm going to take a bunch of damage otherwise. Yeah, we're fine. That Valkyrie doesn't even get a hit, actually. He has outcycled me right now, though, so going to go for the Log. Let's go for the last minute high Tesla, and then Archer's E-Spirit to hold that Hog in place. Should be no hits. Yep, very nice. If they do go for stuff to take out your Tesla, you need to get another form of DPS on the Hog. Either Archers or, you know, maybe like a Knight. As you guys can see, basically every Fireball that I've hit when he has a Firecracker on the board has been on the Firecracker and the tower. So that's a big name of the game and big takeaway here. Like I said, remember that early trick to get damage? Remember, go opposite lane in most situations, but here we went same lane, which still worked out. And just Fireball Cycle is the name of the game. Get that early King Tower activation. And that's how you can beat Hog Red or Earthquake. Alright, into our next match against Benix, and I feel like we've already had a very nice set of games. You know, I showed you guys a picture-perfect game against Hog Red or Earthquake with that nice Fireball Cycle to take out the Firecrackers and just general Fireball Cycle to build an advantage. We had a nice game against 3M Monk, which I would say is not really a hard counter, but it's definitely some sort of counter. At least they do literally have, by definition, counters to my Expo, so it's still pretty satisfying to be able to beat that deck. Let's go Log to reset this Firecracker attack animation perfect. That way we're going to be able to prevent it from hitting the tower. You have to know your timings, guys, and let's go Knight. Mini P.E.K.K.A. I don't know what this deck is. Firecracker, Mini P.E.K.K.A. No idea. Let's just play it safe. I do like to go for early Expos to find out what my opponent has, but not at the expense of potential risk. I like to go for it when it's pretty safe, you know, when I've split my archers, perhaps. Goes for the arrows. Right here is a good example. He's down a bit of elixir after going for those arrows, so I will go for the Expo. And we face another Monk user. I don't know what it is, guys. Monk users just love me, I guess. Let's go for a Log. Oh, it's always like a mind game, right, against Monk, where you have to go for a perfectly timed Log or Fireball to take out the Monk and knock it back. In this case, I wanted to go for the Log to also take out that Firecracker and chip it down. But, like, they're either going to ability right away, or what oftentimes happens is they go for the ability pretty late. That's why I tried to sneak the Log in early before they went for the ability, but it's really a mind game. Sometimes they'll go for the ability a bit earlier, like in that case. And then going for your weight is not really going to be very effective. Let's go for a nice Evo Archer split, though. We'll force the arrows out, and I can go for the Log, cycle back to my Evo Knight. That's going to be a perfect defense with basically no damage taken on my towers. I still have a damage. Actually, we have a damage lead courtesy of Dagger Duchess, and we have a Firecracker coming down. I could Fireball it, but I think it's better to not, because, quite frankly, I don't know if I want to go same lane as him. I think what I'll do is I'll just go for the skeletons instead and make sure okay, take a hit. No, okay, I'm fine, thank God. I actually messed up that timing, so thankfully we're still okay. But yeah, didn't want to Fireball there because I did not really want to press my luck early in the match. Very nice, like I said, didn't want to go same lane as him, so nice lane swap, catching the Witch in the back, go for the Fireball cycle on that Witch, and unfortunately Monk literally just nullifies an entire Expo by itself, so there's nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is just kind of make sure I get the spell cycle damage and chip him out at the same time nonetheless. So as you guys can see, we are actually still in a pretty comfortable damage lead, even though he is playing the Monk, and it's pretty annoying because I've just been getting Fireballs when I can. I took a Fireball Log on that Witch. Gonna go Knight instead of Skellies to predict the arrows perfect. Had a feeling he would do that, so that's gonna just prevent him from ever going for... Whoa, what's going on there? Prevent him from going for the prediction to nullify my skeletons. Gonna go for the Expo again in the right. We get a double Expo on the board. He goes for the ability, which means he's low on elixir. Perfect. Now he's gonna go for the MK. Nope, goes for the Valk instead. We'll go for the Knight. Evo Archers, E-Spirit, and that Monk can basically be ignored. Evo Archers will melt this Valkyrie. We'll go Skellies plus Log as well to maximize that lock. And that is a perfect punish. 2 Expos, outcycling the Monk, and good elixir tracking as well. Very, very good punish. And so right now we can basically just chill and sit back for the rest of the game, defend, and we will get the victory. So guys, Expo Cycle, patience is the name of the game with this deck as well. You know, it's not going to be very easy to make a connection every single game that you play. So if you are able to outplay your opponents like I was in that game, and you do actually get a nice connection, then it's important to just kind of enjoy that and sit back and play patient. Don't try and push more than you can afford. Don't try and be so aggressive and end up costing yourself the game. So I have accepted that I got a nice Expo connection. I'm going to now hold on to that and still play good defense for the rest of the match. By the way, that was a very nice example of what I was talking about with the early Log against the Monk, so that it was before he went for the ability. I'm gonna go for the Log, take out this Firecracker. Expo opposite, just to force out a Monk. You know, it doesn't really hurt to pressure. Even though I do have a lead, I'm not overcommitting on this Expo. I'm just kind of pressuring a bit, you know, when it matters. Also, Evonite soaking up every single dagger Duchess, or Duchess dagger in the left. Going to be very nice. Evonite's actually pretty good in this meta because there are quite a few dagger Duchess users. And it's going to be very effective to just kind of soak up those daggers. Actually, do pretty good on offense as well. Going to go for the Fireball cycle on that Valkyrie, which will do me a pretty solid favor of just cycling it out because, you know, you can still get your Fireball cycles when you need to. Like I said, I do enjoy Fireball cycling monks right there. He does actually ability, which is well played because I guess he predicted a log there. We have 3 Teslas on the board right now, which is kind of diabolical, though. I don't really see how my opponent's going to break through this. Gonna go for the log again. I can go for a Fireball if I need it. Do I even need it, though? No, I don't, actually. I swear that was a beautiful Fireball, but my defense was so good that I didn't even need it. So, very, very nice stuff. Let's go Tesla pretty high up. Just control, 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 as you can see, with a very nice little bit of principles against the Monk and Expo Cycle in general. You can beat pretty much any deck. MK Monk, I know a lot of you guys would struggle against this, but no problem. Easily controlled, and very good win against what I would say is a pretty good counter deck to Expo Cycle. Alright, into our next match against Woot, and I'm feeling myself, guys. We're doing good. We're doing solid. So this guy's playing the Cannoneer. We've had a wide assortment of tower troops. Princess Tower, Dagger Duchess, and Cannoneer. The only one we're missing right now is the Chef. Let's see what goes on. Goes for the split Barbs. Okay, so Barbs, Cannoneer. I do not know what this is, honestly. Cannoneer, my first guess is usually like Splashyard, right? But okay, wow. This is awkward. I'm going to go for a Fireball shoved over like this to push that balloon into the Tesla. As you can see, it is a beautiful plane. If you did not know, now you know. You can push a balloon into your Tesla with a Fireball. If you go for center Tesla, they go for Loon. You can either go for a shove with the Fireball, or you can go for an Expo like this. If you want Expo up high on the right, it would have actually pulled that balloon as well into my Tesla. And as you can see, that is a perfect punish as well. So very nice trick to push the balloon into my Tesla. Plus, I abused the fact that he overcommitted, was low on Elixir. We get a beautiful lock as well, so very nice damage. And he does go for the Split Evo Barb, so I guess he's going to go for the same thing. Now, I'm pretty wary of the fact that he has a balloon. Now I know more about his deck, so I think I will not go for the pre-cycled Tesla in the middle. I think I'll wait to see which lane he goes for the balloon in, and then go Tesla in that lane. Yes, perfect. It's going to go Tesla here. I was going to take a nice Fireball in the left real quick. Let's go E-Spirit for the right side. E-Spirit does chain onto the wrong things, but it's fine. I'll take that damage. I really don't mind. I mean, that's what, like 1,000 max? Which is really not a big deal considering I took basically most of his left tower. Like, his tower got destroyed with that early punish, actually. And he had nothing in cycle for that first Exo. So I think that was definitely a worthwhile trade for me. And I'm really not complaining about any of this, honestly. I feel like this is pretty solid. So let's go for another Expo right here. Just see what he has. Goes for the Barbs in the back. That is not what you're looking for, man. We forced out the Evo Knight, which, again, is pretty good. I know sometimes it's annoying when you see an Evo Knight just shut down your entire Expo, but if you change your mentality and mindset, it is annoying, and it does counter the Expo very well. But we force it out, so number one, it's not in cycle anymore. He can't use it for another 3 nights. He has to play 3 more nights to get back to the Evo, 2, and then the third one will be Evolution. So that's already a pretty good fact. Then also the fact that he can't use it with his offensive push now. He could have gone Evo Knight to kind of cause problems, but he can't because I forced it out. Also here, very nice play again. Just going for that nice Expo to pull a balloon. Let's go Fireball Log, catch him off guard. Very good bomber by him. If he did not go for that bomber, as you guys can see, he would have basically lost the game because that Expo would have locked onto the tower. One of my favorite plays in this game is going for that last minute Fireball or Log to catch people off guard and just kill their stuff early. Gonna get a nice defense here. Tesla, Archers, E-Spirit split everything pretty well, and I mean, it's pretty much over. Gonna go for an Expo right now, and he can go Barbs. I can just Fireball them, so gonna Fireball. That's gonna hit the bomber too, and he is dead. Log, and he can't do anything about this. So GG's, very nice win. I'd say the biggest takeaway from this game was that trick at the start, just pushing the balloon into my center Tesla. Alright, into our game against... Oh, I can get this, I can get this. If you guys did not know, I used to love saying this when I was in my second semester of my first year university. I did take Korean. So his name is Ja-yeon In? Something like that. I'm probably wrong, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know if that's a J or... I don't think it's an S. But anyways, it is Korean. I did learn Korean, guys. Little fun fact about me. For a full academic semester, I only got a B in it, though, so I was okay, but my quiz scores were a little more to be desired from there. But this is definitely going to be Splashyard, and it's not really... It kind of is a stereotype, honestly, but it's not really like offensive. It's just kind of true. There's so many Korean players that play Splashyard in Clash Royale, and so this guy, another one of them, which is going to be pretty decent. I think this matchup's not going to be terrible. Let's go knight to bridge block that knight. Very nice play, as you can see. He tried to go with a random knight graveyard, but I was aware of it. Went for the very good bridge block. As a result, we only take like 1 or 2 skeleton hits. I had an archer helping out. I went for a nice E-Spirit, and that's going to be a very nice situation overall. And now it's only the first minute and a half of the game, and I'm already back to my Evo Archer, so I can use them on offense right now. He has no Knight in cycle. I'm going to go for the Xbow. Going to go for the high Evo Archers to predict a building or baby dragon. There's the prediction on the cannon. Going to log this barb barrel off, and that's going to be a baby Xbow lock, although unfortunately it is going to die to the cannon and barb barrel. Going to go for a nice little skeleton spread here, as you guys can see. That's going to separate them and make them tank for 2 hits of the baby dragon. So very nice cycle card utilization. And just like that, we already won the game, guys. Literally, we won the game because good early punish. You know, he tried to go for a random early punish. Didn't even punish anything. I didn't even do anything wrong. So that was just the most random graveyard. Like, I used to play this matchup so specifically, I would not ever split archers. I would just save them for the graveyard every time. I think I have a video on my channel from years ago where I did that as well, but trust me, that is not how you want to play the matchup. You do not need to do that. You can actually just kind of cycle them a lot, get back to the Evo. You don't even need to use archers to defend the graveyard anymore. You can go Knight, Skelly's log, Skelly's E-Spirit log, even a Tesla when you need to, or 1 archer from the split archers can help. Like, it's just a lot that you can utilize to help you out against those graveyards. So really not a big deal. So Skelly's log to catch this barb barrel unfortunately failed on that. My reaction time was not it, so that is a bit unfortunate, but it's fine. We did force up the Evo Knight, and now we've upcycled the poison by 3, so I can go, or 3 or 2. I can go for the Expo though. Forced to go for a last minute Ice Wizard. That is a fat Fireball, and he's gonna die. I guarantee it, guys. Yep, he was not ready for that Fireball, did not get a Knight down to tank, and that's gonna be a good game. That is game-winning damage right there, so destruction against Splashyard. I would say I did punish him very well. I didn't do anything too special though. It was more so he went for a really aggressive graveyard. And with this deck, guys, it is such a very good punish deck. Such a very good, nice English SK, but very good punish deck. If you punish the right things, you can literally win the game in single elixir. So keep that in mind. Alright, into our final game against Kraken here. This is going to be the game for Ultimate Champion, guys, so let's get it. Kraken from Elder Mates, he's going to be the final boss over our Path of Legends run, and of course it's going to be Goblin Giant. Why am I not surprised? I do not enjoy playing against this card. I really don't, but I'll do my best. He's playing with the Dagger Duchess Tower, which means it's definitely going to be a heavy beatdown deck, you know, Goblin Giant. They love to just go Goblin Giant first play, ignore everything you play and get bailed out by the Dagger Duchess. Anyways, that is a rant for another day. Gonna get a nice log on that Goblin Gang, and so right now this looks like Goblin Giant Double Prince bait, if I had to guess the deck. I think we'll go for an Expo and find out more about his deck because we'd get a pretty good defense off on that Goblin Giant push. It goes for the Prince, going to jump. We'll go Skelly's for that. Actually, let's go Archers instead. We can go Skelly's after the fact, and then what we can do is actually go E-Spirit to activate King off that Firecracker as well. No, last minute timing, unfortunately, guys. Even one mistake with this deck will cost you, so that's going to be a bunch of damage to my right tower, and no activation, which does hurt. I'm not going to lie, it does hurt. We go for the log on that Goblin Gang. Obviously, it would have been more optimal to hit the tower, but I do want to go opposite lane in most matchups with this deck anyway, so it's not a big deal. Going for a low log to make sure I take all of them out, rather than going high log, missing the front goblins. I'm going to go for the... let's go Tesla, because if I go Knight the back, he might just go Goblin Giant the back, and then my Knight will walk up and die. I'd rather get a safe Tesla off. And now, because he's ignoring it, I can just go for an Expo, and he actually goes for the Sparky. So he'll go Expo opposite lane to that Sparky. We have 2 permutations here. He's either going to go Goblin Giant on this Expo, which is going to be very good for me. Yes, perfect. I'll go Knight, and I'll just let this die to the Tesla now. The second option, which would have been much more messy and possibly lost me the game, but it's a risk I am obviously willing to take, as you guys can see, is if he went Goblin Giant in front of that Sparky instead. And it is pretty risky, but if they do go for that, you have to have perfect defense, and it's really not easy. But didn't have to worry about it. He went for a pretty bad Goblin Giant on the Expo instead. I just took care of it. Very good micro defense on that Sparky as well. And just like that, we've basically won the game. That is honestly a good Prince because I don't have skeletons in cycle, but I'll go log, cycle back to my Evo Knight, drop the Evo Knight to defend. He's actually doing a pretty good job right now. I'll go for the Fireball because I really don't want to waste my Evo Archers. I do have to give him the well played for that. Like, I won't give it to him, but I will say it to you guys. I think that was well played by him. Again, just forcing my hand. Did not want to do that. But again, I was pretty strict at saving my Evo Archers. Going to go E-Spirit, react to that Goblin Giant. Very nice. And then it's actually going to make it not attack my Xbow. Let's go log on this Goblin Giant too. And he's going for a really weird... Yo, wait, what? Why did that die? Hold up. Okay, let's go Archers. Let's go Eastbert, and then we're back to the Knight. We can go Knight last second as well. Log as well, and... Wait, he actually lost on that Knight Evo Archer push. Oh my god, I was scared. I took so much damage, but he went all in, so he had nothing to defend my huge push in the other side. Let's just stall this out, guys. Add insult to injury here. Forgive me for my sins, but I'm just going to kite this Goblin Giant up high and just kind of have fun with it. So that's going to be GG's. Very nice win against Evo Goblin Giant Print Spam. He went Goblin Giant first play. As you guys can see, I just played good defense, protected myself, and we did a good job. And that is going to be good game. The final match for Ultimate Champion, as you guys can see, we are going to be reaching it with a very nice, wait for it, 95% win rate. So hopefully that helped you guys out with how to reach Ultimate Champion League with Xbow Cycle, my favorite deck in the game. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.